old heart impacts past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirosho here, and now, whenever we last left off, we had Izuku Midoriya. In his fight with Cell, he showed off his new transformation, and it surprised quite a lot of people. Bakugo seeing the gap between Midoriya and himself. And then there was what happened with Midoriya's parents. Midoriya thought he destroyed Cell in one single blast. However, apparently Cell's nucleus, or a single cell of him, survived. Midoriya was forced to use Hakai energy, his parents restraining Cell to keep him still, and subsequently being destroyed in the process. Now, we do have Vados, who inform Midoriya about this, explaining to him that there is a possibility of him being able to bring his parents back, but that it may not be very high. Now, with that being said, we will pick up roughly around 2 weeks later, and the world is still celebrating. There have been massive parties and parades to celebrate the destruction of Cell, along with people who have actually tried to come out to Midoriya's house and congratulate him. Now, Midoriya does have a lot of things going on all at once. However, he is also ignoring them all. The public statement being that Midoriya's parents, or some of his family, actually did get killed in the fight, and that the hero or defender of Earth would like to be left alone. Now, Midoriya is sitting down at the table, with a bowl of food in front of him, as he is actually in Super Saiyan. Now, Midoriya is still waiting, enjoying some of his little time off, as he does spend it with his own family. However, that family's gotten a little bit smaller. Now, we do have Mina, who is outside, as she actually does get done training, and walk into the room. Midoriya turning to look at her, as she actually does turn to look at him. Now, Midoriya just goes back to watching TV. Mina actually asking Midoriya if he's alright. I'm fine, Mina. I'm just a bit more concerned. About what? Well, about my family. Okay. What do you mean, though? Well, ever since I killed Cell, there's just been this thought going on in my head. I was only able to do it because I thought I can bring my parents back. And, well, Vados is only telling me that there's a slim chance of that happening. So I'm just kind of freaking out right now. I'm too stressed out to train. But shouldn't you train when you're stressed, though? Midoriya trying to look at her. Her going on to state that Midoriya can get rid of all that aggression and anger, and calm himself down. That's usually what she does. In fact, she still is trying to catch up to both him and Momo. Now, Midoriya, he actually does go to stand up. And he actually does turn into Super Saiyan 2. This actually surprising Mina for a second. As Midoriya brings his hand up, saying that he would love to train. He really would. And this power, sure. It's all good and fine. But he wants to talk to Vados and the Grand Priest, or whatever his name was called. If they can talk to him first, and he gets a definite answer, then he will train with her next time. Him dropping down to his base, and quietly eating his food. Now, with that being said, Mina does go to walk away. Before Momo actually does open her door, asking Mina what happened. The two having a short but brief conversation. Midoriya is still not training, and he's still stressed out about everything. Now, Momo is also sort of concerned. However, it's very good. He's still here. Last time he saw his dad die, Midoriya ran off and hid. Ironically, he discovered Super Saiyan. Then there's now. The circumstances aren't all that different. However, Midoriya killed his parents this time. So, her trying to think of a way she can make him feel better. Now, while she actually does go back to what she was doing, Vados does actually arrive, telling Midoriya that they are ready. Now, Midoriya actually does step outside into his backyard, as Vados and him do take off. Now, as that does happen, Vados does begin to instruct Midoriya on certain things. What he does need to do. Along with that, he is going to talk with the Grand Priest. So, he needs to be on his best behavior. And answer all of his questions exactly the way he should. As if he was talking to somebody very important. Now, Vados does know that Midoriya will not have a problem with his manners. However, Midoriya cannot meet the Grand Priest the way he is currently dressed. Now, after they do arrive outside the Grand Priest's palace, Vados does actually wave her staff in front of Midoriya, his clothing glowing, before quickly changing into something else. Now, they change into ceremonial garments that a god of destruction would wear. And Midoriya is quite confused about all this, as Vados and him do start walking. Now, Midoriya is confused before both of them do vanish. And Midoriya is inside the palace, kind of concerned. Whoa. This is all new. Yes, Midoriya. It is. Now, please. If you would, continue on. Now. Eventually, Midoriya does walk into a room. Now, as soon as Midoriya does walk into this room, he feels an immense pressure. And it's caught him off guard. And his body does somewhat feel heavy. But he does notice a slight difference. This pressure isn't like gravity training, it's different. And Midoriya is quite surprised, as he does continue walking in. Now, Midoriya does actually walk in up until he does disappear once again, finding himself in a new place. Now, Midoriya stands there, in front of the Grand Priest and Zeno. Now, Midoriya cannot see Zeno's face, nor can he even really see the man. He has bodyguards lining the ways in front of him. Now, the Grand Priest is actually quite intrigued, as he does go on stating, "Hello. So, you are the specialized human Vados has informed me so much about." Hmm? Uh, yes, sir. Midoriya actually going to drop down onto one of his knees and kneel. Now, Midoriya actually has lowered down his head, kind of confused. So this is the power of a god. Jeez. It's intimidating. Okay, just... why am I losing my cool? Now, Midoriya actually does go to raise his head, to try and meet the Grand Priest's gaze, as the Grand Priest tells him to simply just stand, Midoriya doing so. And the Grand Priest does actually ask a question. He is the mortal who can use Ultra Instinct, yes? That actually surprising Zeno's guards. Yes, sir. I came here because I did have a few questions. Ah, okay. You may go ahead and ask them. Okay, thank you. In my fight with the threat to my planet Cell, I used Hakai energy, or God of Destruction energy. My parents were caught in the crosshairs, or crossfire. I was wondering if there was a way to bring them back. Vados informed me that it might be possible. Now, the Grand Priest smile does actually somewhat go into a little bit of a frown, as he just simply just shakes his head no as he closes his eyes, telling Midoriya that that is not possible. What? What do you mean? Sir, I'm just confused. The power of a god of destruction is quite intriguing. They can destroy anything they wish out of existence. Yes, I am the right hand of Zeno. However, then there is Zeno himself. Zeno can create and destroy universes. In fact, your universe is quite an oddball to us. Okay. Now, bringing your parents back does theoretically seem possible. Midoriya actually having his eyes widen, as he almost lunges to his feet and asks, "Really?" Yes. Let us see. It would take a whole lot of time and effort, but I believe that there's a possibility that it may be able to be pulled off. However, I do have my own questions for you, mortal. Now, the word that he just said, it made Midoriya actually almost shake to his very core. The Grand Priest asking Midoriya to stand to his feet and show him his full power. Midoriya actually doing so, as he does turn Super Saiyan, his hair making this ceremonial headpiece fly off. Before the Grand Priest asks Midoriya if that is all of his power. Midoriya going up to Super Saiyan 2, and the Grand Priest being a little bit more impressed. Okay, I see. Now, would you be able to use Ultra Instinct? Midoriya actually nodding his head, dropping out of Super Saiyan, as he actually does bring his hands down, and take in a deep breath. Now, the Grand Priest does watch, as Midoriya, after a few minutes of concentration, is able to clear his mind. And he does go at least into Omen. Now, this does actually intrigue the Grand Priest, who is curious about Midoriya, asking exactly what is he? I'm a Saiyan. I see. But you are not born Saiyan, is that correct? Yes, sir. And this power you have obtained, Ultra Instinct, do you have any idea how you are able to obtain it? No, sir. I was born with this power. Okay. I see now. Well, would you be able to master the form? Now, the Grand Priest does actually wait for Midoriya's response. Midoriya closing his eyes and trying to focus. Now, Midoriya waits in silence for a very long time before his hair does actually begin to spark into silver. And he actually does master Ultra Instinct. The Grand Priest is actually quite impressed, understanding now why this boy is special. So, a angel possibly born mortal. This would be interesting, along with his rapid rate of growth. If he is to be the next god of destruction, well, he will certainly be an interesting one. Especially because he is less than 30 years old. So, he's basically a child with so much power, almost an infant to him. Now, the Grand Priest actually does say that Midoriya, he has answered all of his questions. And Midoriya actually does drop out of Ultra Instincts. Now, Vados has actually come in and informed them all that is all. That was all. Vados and Midoriya disappearing. Now, Midoriya does ask a lot of questions on the way to, well, home. And he actually does arrive. Now, once Midoriya does actually arrive, we do have currently what happened. Apparently Midoriya's son had a bit of an instance. Now, I have not listed a name for this same baby. For right now, I do actually want to say that his name would be Wahashi. Or, well, if you guys don't understand that reference, Wasabi. Now, with that being said, Midoriya actually has arrived and I understand what's going on. Apparently Midoriya's 2-month-old son, or yeah, almost 2 months old, is currently messing around with his power level. It was quite intriguing. However, Momo freaked out whenever he turned Super Saiyan. Now, that was quite intriguing. Midoriya basically running over and finding the Saiyan baby. Now, he was actually quite impressed, as Mina was still kind of confused. Now, within all of this time, Mina has actually somewhat had some feelings for Deku. However, she has not known Midoriya as long as Momo has. And then there is currently what has happened. So, this does seem to be quite strange. Midoriya is a very powerful man. And then there's the fact that with Hope, their daughter from the future, did come around and sort of did activate a little bit of those maternal instincts. Now, Mina is actually still very, well, flustered about all of this. Not really sure how to react to it now. especially after the whole time chamber surprise. Now, Midoriya does actually help out and spend some time with his son before he does fall back to sleep. Mina basically pulling Midoriya aside and asking him about what happened at the Grand Priest's temple, or house or whatever. Midoriya informing them about it. Now, with that being said, Midoriya is bummed out to find that it most likely could be impossible. But that wasn't the word the Grand Priest said. Now, Mina actually does drag him outside to do some training. As soon as that does happen, Midoriya actually does spark into Super Saiyan. Mina actually is doing one thing, bringing up her hands and casting a magical spell. As soon as it does happen, one thing does occur. Midoriya's hands, he feels them get weighed down before being pulled backwards. His hands at his wrist, somewhat being bound together, as if someone tied his hands behind his back. And then Midoriya does actually feel an immense pressure come over his body. As Mina actually does introduce Midoriya to a bit of her own magic, a spell she created just for him. Midoriya being quite confused, as he actually is trying to break free. Mina informing him that this magic is special. This magic uses not only her own ki, but her magical power, meaning that her and Midoriya can train on par. She can make Midoriya's training more difficult while having her own stronger fighting partner. Now, Midoriya does actually try and break out of this, using his own power. However, as soon as he did begin to actually power up, the weight that Midoriya was feeling got heavier. And it felt like these things began to dig into his arms more. Now, with that being said, Midoriya and her did begin to fight. Midoriya being restricted to only being able to use his legs. Now, Midoriya was actually quite surprised. In her ultimate form, she's actually pretty strong. And Midoriya, he actually does only need to use Super Saiyan to stay above her. In fact, he did actually think about using the Kaioken to match their power levels. But without his arms, then that's not really fair. Now, him and Mina do actually fight like this. And Momo actually does watch. Her being quite entertained that Mina is having a lot of fun with this. And there's a certain look in Mina's eyes. Momo, she understands that look. And she's quite curious as to what Mina would have to say about it. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.